Have you ever wondered about the mysterious disappearance of Nefertiti, the ruler of the Nile? Let's take a step back and journey to the origins of this enigmatic queen. Nefertiti, known as the Daughter of Gods, was the chief consort of the Egyptian pharaoh Akhenaten, who reigned from approximately 1353 to 1336 BC. However, she wasn't just a queen in name. Nefertiti held an unprecedented level of power, believed to be equal to that of the pharaoh himself. Her life was intertwined with one of the most radical periods in ancient Egyptian history. Nefertiti and her husband, Akhenaten, were the primeval first couple in the new state religion that centered on the sun god, Aten. This religion's influence permeated all aspects of life, and Nefertiti's role was instrumental in its propagation. Her influence extended beyond religious and political realms. She was renowned throughout Egypt for her stunning beauty, particularly her long swan-like neck. Even her name, Nefertiti, meaning the beautiful one has come, reflects this. She was an innovator, even in matters of personal adornment, inventing her own makeup using the galena plant. And her style was so iconic that an elongated gold bead, called Nefer, was named after her. Despite her power and influence, Nefertiti was lost to history for centuries. It was only when her bust was discovered among the ruins of an artist's shop in Amarna in 1912 that she was thrust back into the limelight. This remarkable find, now housed in Berlin's Altes Museum, is one of the most copied works of ancient Egypt. Nefertiti was more than just a queen. She was a ruler in her own right, a trendsetter, and a religious influencer. As her power grew, she held equal status to the pharaoh himself, a feat unheard of during those times. In the 4th year of Akhenaten's reign, a religious revolution swept across Egypt. A seismic shift occurred in the spiritual landscape of this ancient civilization. The multitude of gods worshipped by the Egyptians was suddenly replaced by a single deity, the sun god, Aten. This was more than a change in divine preference. It was a complete overhaul of religious, societal, and even artistic norms. As the sun began to rise in prominence, so too did Nefertiti's role in the spiritual life of the kingdom. The queen was no mere figurehead in this new order. Instead, she held the unique and powerful position of priest of Aten. Alongside her husband, she worshipped this solar deity, leading her people in this new form of adoration. The old pantheon had been swept away, and in its place stood a royal trinity. Akhenaten, Nefertiti, and Aten were now the spiritual epicenter of Egypt. The pharaoh and his queen were seen as the primeval first couple, the human conduits through which Aten's blessings flowed to the rest of the population. Nefertiti's influence in this new religious order was far from symbolic. She was depicted on temple walls at the same scale as the pharaoh, a clear indication of her importance. More than that, she was depicted alone in worship of Aten, and even smiting a foreign enemy in a relief from the temple at Amarna. Such depictions were traditionally reserved for the pharaoh alone, underscoring the significant religious and political power she wielded. This new religion was a radical departure from the traditions of old, and it was not without its controversies. Yet it served to further elevate Nefertiti's status. She was not just a queen, but also a religious leader, cementing her status as one of the most powerful women in history. Nefertiti's power was not just in name, but also in action. Her influence extended far beyond the confines of the palace, reaching deep into the religious and political affairs of ancient Egypt. On temple walls, she was portrayed in the same size as her husband, Pharaoh Akhenaten, a clear indication of her unprecedented status. In the sun-drenched courtyards of the temples, she was shown alone, worshipping the sun god Aten, a role traditionally reserved for the pharaoh. This was not just ceremonial. As priestess of Aten, Nefertiti held a key position in the new, virtually monotheistic religion that Akhenaten had introduced. The king and queen were viewed as a primeval first pair, forming a royal triad with Aten, through whom the god's blessings were dispensed to the entire population. But Nefertiti's power did not stop at religious affairs. A relief from the temple at Amarna shows her in a scene of battle, smiting a foreign enemy with a mace. This depiction had traditionally been reserved for the pharaoh alone, underscoring her unique status. Nefertiti was not only a queen, but also a warrior and a priestess, a trinity of roles that was unheard of in ancient Egypt. Her influence was so profound that it extended beyond her life and into the afterlife. In a break from tradition, it was Nefertiti, not the traditional female deities of Egypt, who was carved onto the four corners of Akhenaten's granite sarcophagus, and it was she who was depicted as providing the protection to his mummy, a role traditionally played by the goddesses Isis, Nephthys, Selket, and Neith. By redefining her role as queen, Nefertiti had transformed the very nature of power in ancient Egypt. She had become more than a queen. More than a wife, she had become a symbol of power and influence, one that would echo through the corridors of time long after her death. Nefertiti's influence was such that even in death, she was the one to provide protection to Akhenaten's mummy. After the 12th regal year of Akhenaten, Nefertiti's name vanishes from history. A sudden eclipse of such a prominent figure raises many questions. What could have led to the abrupt disappearance of the ruler of the Nile, the daughter of gods? Theories abound, each more intriguing than the last. Some suggest that Nefertiti may have fallen victim to a plague that was sweeping through the region at the time. Could it be that this powerful queen who held a status equal to the pharaoh himself succumbed to a mere illness? Others propose a different narrative. Perhaps Nefertiti had fallen out of favor, her influence waning, her presence no longer desired at the court. But given her significant role in the religious reformation and her representation in the arts and inscriptions, this seems less likely. One of the most compelling theories, however, revolves around the introduction of a co-regent shortly after Nefertiti's disappearance. This mysterious figure shared the throne with Akhenaten, leading to rampant speculation about their identity. Could it have been Nefertiti herself, assuming a new identity and continuing to rule as a female king? This wouldn't be unprecedented in Egyptian history. Women like Sobneferu and Hatshepsut had previously taken on similar roles. Or was it a male heir, Smenkhkare? Or perhaps Nefertiti under a new name, Nefer-Neferuaten, a moniker that translates to "the Aten is radiant of radiance because the beautiful one has come," or "perfect one of the Aten's perfection." Each theory adds a new layer to the enigma that is Nefertiti. Each possibility paints a different picture of her fate, her courage, and her incredible journey as a woman of power in ancient Egypt. Despite the many theories, Nefertiti's disappearance remains one of the greatest unsolved mysteries of ancient Egypt. Her story, etched in the sands of time, continues to captivate us, a testament to her enduring legacy and the enduring allure of the unknown. Long after her disappearance, Nefertiti's legacy lives on. Her story, a tapestry woven with threads of power, beauty, and mystery, continues to captivate us even today. A testament to this enduring fascination is the discovery of her bust in the year 1912. Found amid the ruins of an artist's shop in Amarna, this exquisite sculpture breathed life into the name of Nefertiti, a name that had been lost in the sands of time for over 3,000 years. This bust, now housed in Berlin's Altes Museum, is considered one of the most copied works of ancient Egypt. It offers a glimpse into the visage of a woman who was not only a queen, but also a priestess, a co-regent, and perhaps even a pharaoh. The elongated gold bead, Nefer, named after her, and her invention of makeup using the galena plant, are nods to her influence on fashion and beauty that transcends time and cultures. Nefertiti's power and status, reflected in her depictions on temple walls and her unique role in religious rituals, underscore the unconventional path she tread in a society dominated by male pharaohs. The fact that she may have been a female king, co-regent with Akhenaten, and later perhaps ruling alone under the name Nefer-Neferuaten, adds layers of intrigue to her narrative. Her disappearance remains one of history's unsolved mysteries, sparking debates and theories that further fuel our fascination. Some believe she fell out of favor or succumbed to a plague, while others argue that she continued to rule, albeit under a different name. Regardless of the circumstances of her departure, her impact on ancient Egyptian civilization and her enduring influence are undeniable. As we continue to piece together the fragments of her life and reign, we uncover a woman of strength, beauty, and power who defied norms and etched her name in the annals of history. Nefertiti, the ruler of the Nile, remains one of the most influential and enigmatic figures of ancient Egypt.
Caught in the thrill of the game? Dive deeper with us. Hit subscribe to be the first to catch our latest content. To our loyal subscribers, your support is invaluable. Your engagement, likes, comments, shares, propels us to push the boundaries. So immerse yourself, engage, and inspire us to continually evolve. Thank you for being part of our journey.